Porsche, we saw that car being driven by Stephen and Brendan Grove in the Endurance Cup. There is the 71, Lithuania, Audi and Jutta Racing. So everybody underway. Still no lap time actually recorded because they're just completing the route laps or completing the out lap and going on to the first flying lap. And hard to choose, David. Who would you? And I don't know. There's all the usual suspects. You've got the Van Thors, you've got the Matt Campbells, you've got Lucas Stolz, Mirko Bortolotti. I mean, those are the names we talk about frequently. And I mean, there are others there that are equally quick.
Well, there for Belgium is Dries Van Thor. The Audi is being run by Santalok. I think that's probably about the only Audi team he's never driven for, but he will this weekend. The French team operate the Belgian car, and Dries Van Thor then is very much a potential winner for his nation because he was quickest in free practice 2. He did a 2 minutes 2 in that, but quicker in free practice 1. Ayçin Güven for Turkey with the Porsche that's run by Team Turkey, and Ayçin Güven, it's the TalkSport WRT squad, did a 2 minutes 1. Now, Ayçin Güven we know is good because he's been an FIA GT Nations Cup winner in the past in Bahrain. He's a Porsche Super Cup star, Carrera Cup Germany star, GT racer and DTM hero. Mirko Bortolotti, however, here representing Italy, another potential winner.
Yeah, looking resplendent with the tricolore over the bonnet of the Lamborghini. Again, Mirko Bortolotti, real class act when it comes to driving a GT3 car, whether it's in Europe or around the world. And he will undoubtedly be pushing to get the top of the podium for his nation. But, you know, it's a battle. We've mentioned 3 or 4 other names that are equally capable. Slows down, coming up to completion of a lap now. We're coming into the pit lane. That's the reason he slowed down.
So in he comes, possibly to download data, maybe to switch tyres around and to then go back out and see what he can do. It's only one race, of course, for these cars. There's no qualifying race, no main race. It is just one sprint, and they get 3 sets of slicks to get them through free practice and qualifying. And then, of course, you need to keep a full, fresh set for the race. Now, France won gold yesterday in the GT Cup. There is Tristan Vautier in the Acodis ASP run car, going for gold for France in sprint. Chinese Taipei has done the target time, 2 minutes 15, but of course you can anticipate these lap times to be quicker than we saw in the GT Cup because you're talking about gold and platinum graded drivers.
Yes, I mean, the time we saw this morning was a 2:01 and a few tenths of a second. Again, temperature is much lower, track temperature, but ambient temperature. We know about Paul Ricard is a circuit that has got many personalities, and the one we've got right now, just 15 minutes after midday, will certainly be a warmer track temperature, higher ambient temperature, and a consequence, a different reaction from the car, and in particular the tyre, with the conditions we've got right now. Dani Juncadella sitting behind the wheel of the Spain entry, a man familiar again with the Mercedes-AMG GT3s over a number of years.
Absolutely. Now, Dani Juncadella in FP1 was the slowest, and in FP2 was only 8th. So you get the feeling that they're still sort of working towards getting that car absolutely right. The car being run by the Antonelli Motorsport team. That's the Antonelli that is the family of Kimi Antonelli, who is the gold medalist in the F4 Cup.
You're talking about Italian motorsport royalty there, I think, aren't you?
Running a Spanish entry.
Yeah.
But it's a different team. And of course, you know, with respect, that is a team that may be not operating at the same level, same experience as Acodis might have.
One might say that, and you might be right. So, I mean, while these are all turnkey GT3 cars, within that package you buy, there's a lot of scope for individual preparation and setup as Dries Van Thor goes on to complete a flying lap, and this is a serious effort from Dries Van Thor. You can see the body language of the car coming into turns 1 and then through 2, sweeping downhill into the quick right-left here at the chicane, and then the very short sprint into turn 5. It's a corner where more haste, less speed, one might say. Be careful of the marker on the inside, then you run the curve, but be careful you don't overrun and find your lap time deleted. So Dries Van Thor, neat and tidy through turn 6, absolutely flat out through turn 7, and gets a sort of a momentary breath all the way run down to the chicane.
So Dries van Thor, who knows this car inside out, his link, of course, with Audis in GT3 racing is coming to an end. WRT, for whom he's been driving, has now finished its programme for the year, electing not to go to the Abu Dhabi 12 Hours, for example. So Dries van Thor may well be racing an Audi R8 for the very last time in this event. So it's one he would like to go out with a victory in. Evan Chen for Chinese Taipei, 2 minutes 3.9 has set the target time, but Dries van Thor is ahead of him in both of those sectors.
Yeah, second and a half effect, or certainly a second in effect. And now coming into Le Bousset, a corner which goes on and on and on and offers up a lot of options for drivers. And is he backed out of it? I think he's backed out of it, surely. What's he doing? He's wandering around, warming up the tyres. He's got 2 purple sectors, and he's bailed out of the lap. So why has Dries van Thor opted to do so? And he's going to come into the pit lane, or no, he's going to stay out and have a second go. Strange. Purple sectors, first 2 sectors, and he bails.
Right, here's Van Thor then, comes up towards the timing line. That's Tristan Vautier for France, who is looking good as well. We've got Matt Campbell in the pit lane. We've got Mirko Bortolotti in the pit lane for Italy. Vautier is about to put a lap time on the board. Van Thor second fastest, 2 minutes 9. But Vautier should jump that. No, he doesn't. It's a start-up lap for Vautier, 2 minutes 10.
Well, Van Thor's time was totally compromised by the 3rd sector when he backed out of it. On board here with the French Mercedes-AMG GT3 out of turn 2. So his first flying lap, 2 minutes 10. That was a little more than a sighting lap. Now a little bit more serious, down through 3 and 4. Keep the car to the left as best you can, then make your apex. Avoid the marker on the inside, then runs out to the curbing on the outside. It should be one big arc as you go through 5 and 6. Personal best, sector 1, fastest sector 2.
Right, this is Bruno Baptista for Brazil. Now, he's got an advantage in as much as he raced this car 3 times over Friday and Saturday. So he's got a lot of track knowledge over the weekend and of this car, which is run by the Ecodis ASP team. Did have mechanical maladies in the 2nd qualifying race for the GT Cup, as opposed to the GT Sprint Cup, because GT Cup is double drivers and pit stops. This is one driver, no pit stops, but he goes second fastest, Bruno Baptista for Brazil. 2 minutes 2.629 as you look there at Dries van Thor.
By a significant margin, quickest in sector 1, personal best, sector 2. And it was at this point 1 lap ago he bailed out of it. And he had a purple, and in fact he had 2 purples. This time he decides, I've got what I want from my car, I'm quicker, even though I had purples at that point 1 lap ago. So wonder where the Belgian Audi, the Belgian driver, will end up. 2 minutes 2 is the target time, 2:02.399, established by the 68 Chinese Taipei Ferrari 488. Van Thor exits turn 15.
Right, so he's got to beat 2 minutes 2.399. I reckon he's going to do it because he comes up towards the line now and he breaks the beam at 2 minutes 1.729 to put Belgium on pole position. So Belgium ahead of Chinese Taipei and Brazil. Germany 4th, Lucas Stoltz, and then you've got Lithuania 5th.
I think that vindicated Van Thor's reason to bail on that previous lap while he was getting purples, but he maybe felt that there's a lot more in the car, and he's gone and established that fact with now getting a provisional fastest time as we watch Tristan Vautier.
And he's up to 4th then now, 2 minutes 2.737. Bruno Baptista for Brazil, absolute best in the 1st sector, as is Vautier's view. So France, which has already got gold medals ×3, but no other medals, could be on for a 4th, but Vautier, he's up against it here. Lucas Stoltz for Germany, by the way, is only 6th at the moment. Danny Juncadella for Spain is only 8th. And we've not yet had a proper time out of Australia. Matt Campbell, Turkey, Heinz Guven, or Italy. Mirko Bortolotti.
So, fastest overall middle sector for the Brazil entered Mercedes-AMG GT3, and a good lap so far from the younger of the 2 Baptista families. Where is he going to finish? Stays 3rd. Waiting to see what the Turkey entered Porsche is going to do, because it's not done a representative flying lap. It's just recorded a 2:09. If you go back to the Brazil Mercedes, as it hops and skips over the curbing. Back now to Dries van Thor. Purple, David.
Should be even quicker then. Is he going to be into the 2:00 mark. I don't think he's going to find that much time, but it should certainly be an improvement as he comes then now down to the Virage du Pont. We've got a time out of Turkey finally. Ayşen Güven has done a start-up lap. There's more to come from him. You've got Australia and Italy to look for next, but first we're going to get Belgium over the line. Here is Dries van Thor, 2 minutes 1.7 to beat. Is this the ideal lap with purple? We'll see in a moment because he's about to complete sector 3, crosses the line, 2 minutes 1.293. It was a personal but not an absolute best in the last sector, but it still moves 0.6 of a second away from the opposition, with Germany now second. Lukas Stolz for Germany up to second fastest.
Yeah, Lukas Stolz sort of rather sneakily climbed up into second place. We didn't see it on camera, so we had to watch timing and scoring. And still waiting to see where Matt Campbell is, or Mirko Bortolotti. Both have done laps, but not a flying lap. So have they got issues, or are they just hanging back, waiting for the opportunity? Because just over 6 minutes remaining. So they need to be on track pretty quickly if they want to get a chance at deposing that front row, that provisional front row of Van Thor and Stolz for Belgium and Germany, respectively.
There is the car that's 5th, now 6th, because Australia has just gone 4th. Matt Campbell's Porsche has gone up to 4th. That's Germany's 2nd, Lukas Stolz. Very much a potential winner of this. We know how good he is. And you've also got Italy up to 7th, Mirko Bortolotti. This lap for Stolz isn't a push lap as such. He did go 2nd last time around, but he's down in that first sector very nearly by half a second.
Yeah, so Stolz pushing, but maybe there's a case of maybe just a little more caution on this lap to see whether he can get some recovery from his Pirelli tyres. And Van Thor likewise is pushing in sector 1, yet again improving with the purple sector, fractionally down in that middle sector. So it's sort of a net position for the Belgian Audi, Dries van Thor behind the wheel.
And Dries van Thor quicker again in sector 1, but a fraction of time given away in sector 2. Stolz was still actually quicker last time, 2 minutes 1.935. So you've got Belgium, Germany, France, and then here 4th Australia. This car was hustled along yesterday by father and son Stephen and Brenton Grove. It's run by Al Bamber's team, and Matt Campbell behind the wheel of it. It should fly, I would have thought.
Hoping it's going to fly. Got a sweet spot for everything. Every manufacturer a P is the initial, and Porsche is another one of those. So waiting to see if Matt Campbell can deliver middle sector 2, almost 3/10 down, so cancelling out his personal best in sector 1. So it's the conclusion of the lap now in sector 3 for the Australian. Where can this Porsche end up provisionally right now as second row of the grid?
He was a winner here last year in Fanatec GT in the 6R race, so he knows the track, he knows the car, he knows what to expect. He also knows the level of the opposition. So for Australia, Matt Campbell turns now up to the timing line. Formula Ford champion, Carrera Cup Australia champion, Bathurst 12-hour double winner, Le Mans and Daytona 24 hours class winner. He breaks the beam and goes then second fastest, 2 minutes 1.875. He's on the front row.
That's what I was hoping for. Mirko Bortolotti has improved likewise for Italy in the Lamborghini up to 4th place. Lukas Stolz is between Campbell and Bortolotti. Tristan Vautier in the France Mercedes is down to 5th. And the 68 Chinese Taipei entry down now to 6th.
So there is Bortolotti, and on this lap with an improvement just having come from Ayşen Güven, he's down to 5th. But Van Thor, Campbell, Stolz, Güven, Bortolotti, Vautier, the top 6. Belgium, Australia, Germany, Turkey, Italy, France. And another change because Lukas Stolz goes through and goes back up to 2nd at the expense of Matt Campbell.
So what can we see from this Lamborghini and Mirko Bortolotti representing Italy? And coming through behind is Lukas Stolz in the Team Germany entry. So into the chicane, that was Matt Campbell. Now Mirko Bortolotti hard on the brakes, personal best sector 1. So scope there for a further improvement. He needs to find, well, what, a 1/10 of a second to get onto the second row of the grid and depose the Turkish entered Porsche of Ayşen Güven.
And of course, a 60-minute sprint. It is effectively one stint out of a normal, if you like, SRO Fanatec GT race. So they're used to going flat out for an hour, but there'll be no mandatory pit stops in that, as over the timing line has just gone Ayşen Güven, and he's up to 4th quickest. We've not yet really seen much of Turkey. As you look at Italy, Mirko Bortolotti still pressing on. He's done 2 personal bests in sectors. He will possibly squeeze one more lap out of this. because we've only got 2 minutes and change on the clock as he comes then now through the Virage de la Tour. So Mirko Bortolotti, racing in GT and in DTM this year, drifts away from the apex a little bit there, and he's bailed, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He was wide. The car ran wide on the entry into turn 14, and immediately got out of the throttle because he knew he was going to lose time. Although he had made personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2, he just immediately got out of it, and he's got 2 minutes remaining. He'll get one more flying lap. Depending at which point he would cross the start-finish line, he might get a second one, but I think it's going to be a matter of seconds as to whether he did or he didn't.
Ayçin Guven for Turkey comes across the line. Very, very impressive driver is Ayçin Guven. He's third fastest. That lap was an improvement, 2 minutes 1.692. So you've got Porsche second and third behind Audi of Belgium, but Ayçin Guven here should be a medalist, I would have thought, because he really does know how to rise to the occasion, and very experienced Porsche campaigner, whether it's been in GT races or in one-make categories.
Well, look, I mean, just watching the manner in which he's driving the Porsche, whether he's backed out of it a little bit, as we go back to the Australia entry with Matt Campbell, both an identical Porsche GT3Rs. This is that's 911.2 version.
Yeah.
The new 992, which was previewed, we saw at Spa 24 Hours. Wow, what a bit of engineering that car is. And if that isn't going to be a real hot rod GT3 performer, well, I tell you, it looks stunning, absolutely stunning.
And there'll be plenty of those on different grids next year run by different teams. So there, Matt Campbell pressing on, but he's gained a 10th in Sector 1, but dropped a 10th in Sector 2, and he's got to find 3 tenths to be ahead of Belgium. So Dries van Thor for Belgium is the fastest, but for Australia, with the kangaroo on the side of the car, Matt Campbell comes then now down to the approach to Virage du Pont, the heavy braking of the last corner. He gets there now, he stands on the anchors, he turns it right, he sets the car up. He will just about get one more lap out of this if he wishes it, but he's going to be on the front row for the rolling start provisionally anyway. Comes up towards the line, 2 minutes 1.1 to beat, and the lap is a 2 minutes 1.6, so actually fractionally slower than his earlier best.
He's got one more chance. Here we go. Luca Stolz, personal best in Sectors 1 by nearly half a second. That's a good chunk, a little bit less in Sector 2. So Luca Stolz for Germany, and the Mercedes currently residing on 4th position, provisional second row of the grid. So he needs another personal best. Oh, if he can get a purple, even better. So Luca Stolz working behind the wheel, just having to make minute corrections on the entry into turn 15. Exits the corner hard on the gas. He could do no more than push as hard as the throttle. Brazil follows him through. So Luca Stolz has gone up to third, deposing Ayçin Guven in the Turkey entry Porsche, as Tristan Vautier currently in 6th place for France in his Mercedes AMG GT3.
So Belgium takes provisional pole position. Is there anybody else looking like they might go quicker? Well, Tristan Vautier gained a bit and then lost twice as much, so he is not going to improve on 6th, I don't believe. The one that still could do something is Matt Campbell, because he's done a personal best within the first sector. Germany improved but stays third. Lucas Stolz, Ayçin Guven in the pits we'd seen. There's Mirko Bortolotti, but he's slower in the first sector. There's Vautier quick but then slow, as I'd mentioned, so he comes up to the line. Let's just get him through and see whether, even if he doesn't go for pole, whether he can gain a place on the grid, because he was only 66 thousandths behind Bortolotti, but he does not improve. He gave away, in the end, 13 thousandths of a second, and Matt Campbell has also bailed. Look, he's given out 1.2 seconds in the middle sector, so Matt Campbell has given up on this lap. He will bail and head for the pit lane. So Belgium, Dries van Thor, pole position, in some ways to be expected, but it's going to be a really competitive race, that is for sure, to see how the cars come on strong over the course of an hour.
Of course, they're running on a single set of tyres for that hour. Now, in Fanatec Sprint, they do a sort of dissect an hour by a pit stop and a driver change and whatever.
But think about it, yes, you're right, as a sprint race, but equally, 60 minutes is one stint out of an endurance round.
Absolutely,
so,
I'm just going to get there.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. So they're accustomed to doing an hour on a set of tyres. But
exactly. It's
an hour in an endurance race as opposed to an hour in a sprint. But of course, endurance races really are 3 one-hour sprint races, or here at Paul Ricard, 6 one-hour sprint races, or in the case of Spa, 24 one-hour sprint races.
So whether it's badged as endurance or sprint. The drivers have to be absolutely flat chat as you look at the Hong Kong China Honda NSX being overtaken. This is the view on the Mistral Straight, and the qualifying session then at an end, with the best time in the end being done by Belgium. Let's just quickly look at the order. Belgium, Australia, Germany is the order. See the margins between 0.3 of a second, though. Dries van Thor having in hand over Matt Campbell. Belgium over Australia. Germany, Lukas Stolz third. Turkey fourth from Italy, then France and Chinese Taipei, meaning Lukas Stolz third, Aitchen Guven fourth, Mirko Bortolotti, Tristan Vautier and Evan Chen ahead of Brazil's Bruno Baptista. The Moroccan driver Michael Benyaya, that we didn't see much of, nor the Swiss Yannick Mettler. Only 11th, Danny Junkadea ahead of the Lithuanian Julius Adamavicius, and Mark Lee for Hong Kong China in 13th. So the order then going into the single race for the GT Sprint later on. And Dries van Thor certainly in confident mood now, as I say, going into that with not only pole position, but knowing that he's got 0.3 of a second's worth of pace in hand. But are other cars going to look after their tyres that little bit better in the course of the 1 hour? Will some cars take a little bit longer to get the tyres up to temperature? Will other cars use the tyres more energetically to start with and then lose pace as the race wears on? We'll see later on in the day. A quick look at the highlights then of that session, which began with many of the teams being selective about when they ventured out, but the tyre pressures made good for Dries van Thor, and he was setting an early pace, of course, a lap which he has done many tours of in the years of Fanatec GT. Tristan Vautier for France ending up 6th, another Mercedes looking rapid, Bruno Baptista 8th, but that curb hopping threw him off the road, and he then ended up 8th fastest. Aitchen Guven was pressing on for Turkey and put his Porsche 4th in the end, another Porsche 2nd, that being the Australia entry of Matt Campbell, and Lukas Stolz 3rd for Germany. But the grid set then for the GT Sprint. Belgium on pole position thanks to Dries van Thor, but the opposition will be snapping at his heels when we go racing.
That was our first opportunity to see the GT Sprint on track. And Darren, we would expect Belgium and Australia to be up there, but Spain further down than we would have thought.
Yeah, Junkadella, I don't think he had the best qualifying. I'm sure he'd be quite disappointed back in 11th place, but with an hour race tomorrow, you know, there's still everything to play for with that. But the qualifying, you can see the difference from yesterday's qualifying in the GT Cup race yesterday.